This week's story is called Abuela. It is written by Arthur Dorres and illustrated by Alyssa Kevlin. Abuela takes me on the bus. We go all around the city. Abuela is my grandmother. She is my mother's mother. Abuela means grandma in Spanish. Abuela speaks mostly Spanish because that is what people spoke where she grew up before she came to this country. Abuela and I are always going places. Today, we are going to the park. El parque es lindo, says Abuela. I know what she means. I think the park is beautiful too. Tantos pajaros, Abuela says, as a flock of birds surrounds us. So many birds. They're picking up the bread that we bought. What if they picked up and carried me high above the park? What if I could fly? Abuela would wonder where I was, swooping like a bird. I'll call to her. Then she would see me flying. Rosalpa, the bird, Rosalpa el pájaro, she would say. Ven, Abuela. Come, Abuela, I'd say. Si quiero vola, Abuela would reply as she leaped into the sky with her skirt flapping in the wind. We would fly all over the city. Mira, Abuela would say, pointing. And I'd look as we soared over parks, streets, dogs, and people. We'd wave to the people waiting for the bus. Buenos dias, we would say. Buenos dias, good morning, they'd call up to us. We'd fly over factories and trains. And glide across the sea. Sierra del Mar, we'd say, would almost touch the tops of waves. Abuela's skirt would be a sail. She could race with the sailboats. I bet she would win. We'd fly to where people and ships are docked, and we'd watch the people unload the fruits from the land where Abuela grew up. Mangoes, bananas, papayas. Those are all Spanish words. So are rodeo, patio, and burro. Maybe we'd see a cousin of Abuela's hooking boxes of fruit to a crane. We saw her cousin Daniel once unloading and loading the ships. Out past the boats in the harbor, we'd see the Statue of Liberty. Me gusta, Abuela would say. Abuela really likes her. I do too. We would circle around Liberty's head and we would wave to the people visiting her. That would remind her of when Abuela first came to this country. Vamos al aeropuerto, she would say. She'd take me to the airport where the plane that first brought her landed. Cuidado, Abuela would tell me. We have to be careful as we went for a short ride. We would fly to Tio Pablo's and Tia Elisa's store. Pablo is my uncle, my Tio, and Elisa is my aunt, my Tia. They'd be surprised when we flew in, but they'd offer us a cool limonada. Flying is hot work. Pero cuento vola más. She wants us to fly more. I want to fly more. We would fly to Las Nubes, the clouds. One looks like a cat, un gato. One looks like a bear, un oso. One looks like a chair, una silla. Descansemos un momento, Abuela would say. She wants to rest a moment. And we would rest in our chair and Abuela would hold me in her arms with the whole sky as our house. Nuestra casa. We'd be high as airplanes, balloons, and birds, and higher than the tallest buildings downtown. But we'd fly there too to look around. We could fly by the building where my father works. Hola, Papa, I'd say as I waved, and Abuela would do a flip for him as we passed by the windows. Mira, I hear Abuela say, look, she's telling me. I look, and here we are, back at the park. We are walking by the lake. Abuela probably wants to go for a boat ride. Vamos a otra aventura, she says. She wants to go for another adventure. That's just one of the things I love about Abuela. She likes adventures. Abuela takes my hand. Vamos, she says. Let's go. The end. Wasn't that a great story? I do apologize for some of my Spanish. I'm not as good as Senora Conady, but that was a make-believe story. Do you think she really flew in the sky past her papa's buildings or to see her tio or tia? No, that was just make-believe, but adventures can be a lot of imaginations, and a really good place to get your imagination going is to read books. Because remember, a book is a promise of everything that's out in the world. Until our next story. Bye, boys and girls.